Welcome to the review of Golden Kamuy Season 4. Now onto the episodes. Rushin out of Russia begins with Sugimoto's group leaving Russia. Sugimoto's group gets watched. Tsukishima sends a letter to Tsurumi that they crossed the border with Ushirpa. Sugimoto's group gets attacked. Sugimoto fights the sniper. The group talks to the sniper. The sniper follows the group. The group arrives back at the lighthouse to deliver a letter. Kadokura and Karawas look for Ushiyama and Toshizo. Kadokura informs Karawas about a prisoner named Sakiya. Kadokura learns from a kid named Chiotaro that Toshizo and Ushiyama confronted Sakiya. Rushin out of Russia ends with Kadokura dropping poisoned fish given to Karawas from Sakiya. Cocoon begins with Ushiyama freeing himself from Sakiya's trap. Ushiyama saves Chiotaro. Ushiyama joins Chiotaro. Sakiya captures Toshizo. Sakiya learns of Ushiyama's escape. Kadokura and Karawas discuss a plan. Ushiyama scares off the kids confronting Chiotaro. Kadokura confronts Sakiya. Chiotaro lures Ushiyama into the water. Ushiyama returns to normal. Sakiya runs away from Kadokura and Karawas. The duo finds a silkworm cocoon on Ushiyama. Kadokura and Sakiya play a game. Kadokura loses. Kadokura saves himself from dying by taking another poison. Sakiya finds and gets into a fight with Toshizo. Cocoon ends with Sakiya dying from his injuries caused by Toshizo. The smell of sulfur begins with the 7th Division learning of a strange man. Kikuta and Ariko investigate the strange man. Tony and his men plan to kill Ariko and Kikuta. Kikuta looks for the strange man. Ariko learns that the strange man had tattoos. Kikuta chases after the strange man and the other men with him. Kikuta with help from the members of the 7th Division kill the strange man's men. Ariko pursues the strange man alone. Ariko causes an avalanche that hits the strange man. Kikuta looks for a missing Ariko. Kikuta finds Ariko. Ariko shows Kikuta the tattoos of the strange man. The smell of sulfur ends with Sugimoto and the others hanging out. Spoiled rich kid begins with Koito meeting Tsurumi for the first time. Koito hangs out with Tsurumi. Tsurumi learns more about Koito. Koito gets kidnapped. Tsurumi meets with Koito's parents to make a plan to save him. Tsurumi answers a call from the kidnappers. Tsurumi gets Koito's location. Tsurumi and Koito's father Heiji goes to his location. Tsurumi and Heiji kill the kidnappers and save Koito. Spoiled rich kid ends with Koito joining the army under Tsurumi. Cinematograph begins with Tsurumi planning to meet with the group. Sugimoto and Ushirpa hang out. Sugimoto and Ushirpa save a filmmaker from a wolverine. The group learns about a camera from Katsutaro. The group watches a film. The group films Ainu stories. The group watches their film. The group is shown film of Ushirpa's parents. Cinematograph ends with Sugimoto asking Ushirpa to stop looking for the gold. Sweet Lies begins with Kikuta and Ariko bringing the tattooed skin to Tsurumi. Tsurumi learns that Ariko is working against them. Tsurumi makes Ariko a double agent. Ariko and Tony meet up with Toshizo and his men. Tsurumi informs Kikuta that the skins they gave to Ariko were fakes. Toshizo questions the skins. Toshizo informs his men that he wanted the skins to be fake so they won't be a distraction anymore. The group part ways with Eninoka and her grandfather. Tanigaki and Sakapashi talk. Sakapashi stays behind with Eninoka and her grandfather. Koito asks Tsukishima about Manchurian Railway. Koito confronts Tsukishima about his kidnapping possibly being staged. Tsukishima tells Koito about Tsurumi's plan. Sugimoto argues with a drunken Shiraishi. Sweet Lies ends with Tsurumi arriving to meet Sugimoto's group. Fleeing Karafuto begins with Tsurumi meeting with the group. Ushirpa talks to Tsurumi. Sugimoto and Ushirpa flee. The 7th Division chases after Sugimoto and Ushirpa. Sugimoto fights the 7th Division. Sugimoto, Ushirpa and Shiraishi flee. The 7th Division follow them to a port. The trio is met by the sniper. The sniper takes out the member of the 7th Division. The group leaves Karafuto. The boat gets followed by the 7th Division. The group leaves the boat to go on ice. The 7th Division searches the boat. Shiraishi informs the group about the plan he overheard from the 7th Division. Ushirpa waits to tell Sugimoto about the code. Ogata pursues Sugimoto and the others. Fleeing Karafuto ends with the group getting help from Ushirpa's uncle and arriving in Hokkaido. Brown Bear Man begins with a being attacked by a bear. The group discusses a plan of finding the gold. The group learns of a nearby village that can still be panned for gold. The group helps a man named Hada from falling. The group pans for gold with Hada and his family. Hada tells the group about platinum. Hada warns the group about a bear. Ushirpa saves the sniper from a trap. Ushirpa gets suspicious of Hada. Hada's family gets attacked by a bear. The group gets suspicious of Hada after hearing him talk to people who aren't there. The group learns that Hada is imagining a bear. Hada attacks Sugimoto. Kadokura tells Karawas about a prisoner named Hada who was delusional. Hada gets attacked by his own trap. Hada talks to Sugimoto. Brown Bear Man ends with Hada dying. Partner in crime begins with Tanigaki speaking with Tsurumi. Tsurumi informs Tanigaki that Inkarmat is pregnant. Sugimoto's group goes back to looking for the tattooed skins. Sugimoto's group discusses the gold. Sugimoto's group plans to look for an Ainu who resides at the village the gold was originally hidden at. Sugimoto's group learns of a pirate named Botaro. Toshizu's group is visited by Ugata. A prostitute gets killed. Toshizu's group hears about the killing of prostitutes. The 7th Division learns of the murders. Usami remembers meeting Tsurumi for the first time. Usami kills his dojo partner out of jealousy for Tsurumi. Usami and Tsurumi blame the death on his horse. Tsurumi talks about his soldiers. Partner in crime ends with Usami and Kikuta looking for the killer. Perfect Mother begins with Inkarmat hanging out with the 7th Division. Tanigaki follows after Sugimoto's group. Tanigaki meets with Inkarmat. Tanigaki takes Inkarmat and leaves. Tanigaki fights Tsukishima. Tanigaki and Inkarmat arrives in a village. Tsukishima confronts Tanigaki in the village. Koito confronts Tsukishima. Tsukishima holds off on killing Tanigaki and Inkarmat. Tanigaki, Koito and Tsukishima help Inkarmat. Inkarmat gives birth. Koito and Tsukishima talk about Tsurumi's goal. Perfect Mother ends with Tanigaki, Inkarmat and their daughter leaving the village. Steamship begins with Toshizu's group and the 7th Division both looking into the murders. Sugimoto's group looks for a candy seller with tattoos. Ushirpa hears a candy seller talk about the gold. Botaro visits a village and asks about the origins of the gold. Sugimoto's group travels by a steamship. Botaro arrives on the steamship. Botaro recognizes Shiraishi. The group notices another steamship controlled by the 7th Division. The 7th Division goes after the steamship after hearing gunshots. The group escapes the 7th Division steamship. Sugimoto fights Botaro. Sugimoto's group talks to Botaro about the gold. Sugimoto and Botaro talk about their family. Steamship ends with Sugimoto remembering the death of his family. Discharge begins with Sugimoto and Botaro getting suspicious of each other. Sugimoto's group and the pirates fight. Sugimoto and the pirates get thrown off the steamship. One of the pirates die. Botaro attempts to drown Sugimoto. Sugimoto gets away from Botaro. Sugimoto saves Botaro from getting killed by the steamship. Sugimoto's group and Botaro team up. Sugimoto's group leaves the steamship. Sugimoto's group hangs out. Sophia's group makes a plan. Kikuta and Usami find something left by the killer. The duo learns that the killer will return. Kikuta and Usami find the killer. The killer gets away. The killer claims another victim. Kikuta meets with Ariko. Toshizo and his men disguise themselves. Toshizu's group is informed that the killer left a letter. Toshizu's group learns that the killer is copying the pattern of Jack the Ripper. Sugimoto's group and Toshizu's group hears of missing kids that might be linked to the former prisoner Keiji. Discharge ends with Tsurumi and some of his men heading out. The vanished Kamuy begins with Usami and Kikuta continuing to look for the killer and discuss about Ogata's brother. Toshizu's group hangs out. Shiraishi and Botaro talk. Botaro shows Shiraishi a gold coin that resembles their tattoos. Sugimoto and Ushirpa hang out. Sugimoto's group avoids falling trees. Sugimoto saves Ushirpa. Tsurumi stops the search for Ushirpa. Sophia looks for Ushirpa. Sugimoto tells Ushirpa about his past. Sugimoto tells Ushirpa that he plans to help an old friend with the gold and then return to Ushirpa. Sugimoto's group gets help out of the trees. Botaro shows Ushirpa the gold coin. Ushirpa believes that her father didn't kill the Ainu. The vanished Kamuy ends with Ushirpa knowing what she must do. That was Golden Kamuy Season 4. Now onto my final thoughts. Starting with the good, the characters, story and comedy. The opening theme Never Say Goodbye by Ali and Mummy D. There was nothing I would consider bad. Overall I would give it an 8 out of 10.